Hey, we back, everybody. Welcome back to the Hands Off Our Children show. I'm your host, Cogee. Y'all, I always play the clips before we come in, because I want y'all to hear that we really do think about these shows, and we think about what's the best for people. So we always give, insight with our clips that we play, and, just things to challenge the mind and, to help y'all hear something different. You know what I'm saying? Not just what we say and what I say, that we feel is right, what we feel is wrong. No, it's neutral. We just giving information and you dissect it and you do what you want to do with it. Again, I want to thank Mr. Neal for being on the show today. I want to thank Mr. Raul Martinez. I want to thank my man E. I want to thank Miss Peaches. I want to thank, all you all. And I want to thank, most of all, the listeners, the watchers, the fan base. I want to thank you all. I want to thank everybody around the world. I want to thank the new people that's just checking in with me, me and my team, and seeing how we getting down and what we doing. Hey, please go to Facebook, give us a like, join us, follow us, pass the show, whatever you can do to help these children out. That's why we do this show, to help the children out and the families, single parents, moms, dads, grandparents, whatever it is. We're here for you. We trying to be that invisible parent in the home, that's in your home too, with that knowledge to help you move forward. So I want to thank you all. But right as we had went off the air, we was talking to E. And Miss Peaches, get ready. I'm coming to you next. E, I was asking you a question. With last week's show and my opener today, I'm going to blend them together.
Okay.
Last week's show, what helped you? What left you confused? What helped you understand? And leading up into today, how do you feel about today's show, thus far?
I'm excited about today's show, mostly because of your opening. I think we have a lot of growth compared to last week. Last week, right. I was very confused because I think, from my perspective,
but let them know you are non-God believer.
Right. I don't believe in God. I'm not any type of religion or anything. I don't even consider myself atheist.
Wait. Did you say you're happy today? Because your voice don't ever change. It just stays one level. If you happy, you said.
I'm happy.
Okay, that's better.
I'm happy,
I was
Bertie.
a little lost. I'm sorry.
But what I was saying is, it left me confused last week because I think last week was mostly a conversation about church hurt, which is the phrase that I heard mostly, and I didn't understand it until the end, and it was
because you didn't even know what church hurt was because
exactly.
you never been to church, right?
And
yeah.
I've been to church a few times, but
deep in the mix of church,
right. I was a little kid. I wasn't really paying attention,
right?
But yeah, it was mostly about church hurt and people's personal relationships with religion, and it didn't really help me in any way. It didn't really. I don't think it helped anybody who doesn't know anything about religion.
Right.
And I think what today's show could do is sort of straighten up some of that stuff, and everybody can talk in a comfortable manner and really bring a lot of more information to the table and really stay away from the heated argument aspect.
Right. There it is. You're definitely right about that. Miss Peaches, what'd you think about last week's show, and compared to today thus far?
Well, last week's show, Cogee, I didn't hear all of it, but from what I did hear, there was a lot of confusion and a lot of ego, and I would say stubbornness, which is why, like I said earlier, there never seems to be any answers. I watched family members, literally go to blows over religion conversations. So to me, it's always been I look at it from the outside and I don't understand. Sometimes you just have to agree to disagree, or try to find what is the same with the people that you love and care about, and roll with that, and leave the other part that's just not what you guys agree on, because there's never going to be a right answer.
Right.
And you can fight and fight and fight, and it's never going to come to any type of agreement.
Right. So, Miss Peaches, what did you grow up? What was your religion?
I grew up, part of my life, Jehovah's Witness. I was at church. Well, they didn't call it church. It was
Kingdom Hall.
The Kingdom Hall, and I don't even know service. We went to meetings. Sorry, I had a blank there.
Mm-hmm.
But it got to the point with all of the nonsense that was going on in the Kingdom Hall with the different families and the elders and all of that. My dad just finally said about after 7 years, I'm done. I don't need to be there to read my Bible. I don't need to be there to pray, and I definitely don't need to be there for the baloney that's going on that's affecting my family. And he basically gave us a choice, and of course we all didn't want to be there. because it wasn't that we didn't, like, still to this day, there are some things that I still really enjoy that I learned, but it's only pieces. What I don't enjoy and what I never think about is the meetings and the people that were there.
Right.
Right. I hear you. I hear you. It makes a lot of sense. But the thing, you know, that I was at, where I was going with it, Miss Peach, I had a double thought right now because I was thinking about something you said. I was thinking about something that I was going to ask Raul a minute ago. But what I was going to ask you a minute ago, where with your children, where do they stand with religion?
Well, I just have a really pretty open policy as far as a lot of things that are in this world. I want my children to feel free to believe. I want them to believe, and I want them to have faith. But they can have it in what they believe in, as long as it's, you know, I'm not going to let them do anything that's off the deep end or anything that could hurt themselves. But I've been blessed. I have, you know, my kids are spiritual. They pray. Do they pray to Catholic God or to a Christian God or to any? No, that's not who their God is. Their God is within themselves. And as long as I see that spiritual path and I see that they keep faith and hope and keep pressing forward through the rough times, and they're legitimately good people, that's what I want for my children.
That's right. I hear you. And that's what it's about. And that's why we doing this show today. We doing this show. You know what, Miss Peaches, I'm going to come back to you one more time. Can you let the women, I mean, from a woman's point of view, can you let our women and our young women know why we doing this show today and why it means this much for us to fight for them as well? You know, we do understand that being a single mom, single grandmom, you know, single father, single whatever, we understand that word means single. You're by yourself. You're doing it alone. But you don't have to be alone. And we making it to where it can be a choice. If you listen to this show, if you don't listen to this show, it's on you. But you can't say that you're just alone when there's people out here and we fighting for all these different, you know, denominations and no color lines. I mean, the list goes on. The list goes on of the kind of help that we have, and it's not a prejudice help. It's for everybody.
Well, Cogee, I think what's important for our single moms and anybody who's raising children on their own is to, you know, you do have to keep them on a path, but, you know, church isn't going to make that right once or 3 times a week. It's what happens on a daily basis. It's right. The boundaries and the rules on a daily basis. It's the, you know, the 24 around the clock being a parent. It's not a job that I don't think anybody realizes what it is until they are. And some people choose to back out of it, you know, and just be. And then other people choose to step up to the plate and be really great parents. But I think one thing that always sticks out in my mind as far as religion, I think sometimes single parents and parents in general get too comfortable at the church, get too comfortable with their kids around certain people. And you have to remember, these are still human beings. People in church are not perfect. They make mistakes, and there are some sick people in church. That's why they're there.
That's right.
So you shouldn't leave your kids just free to be around whoever, or left at Sunday school and you're nowhere near, or left on church sleepouts and campovers and all that stuff. That's not the way you should do it.
Unsupervised.
Right, because church is just like anywhere else in this world. With all those regular people that are sitting in the church are the regular folks that you see out and about doing right and doing wrong.
And that's on Facebook every day.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We all regular folk. You know what I'm saying? You know, super folk. You know what I'm saying? We all regular folk learning our way to be super folk. Try to be. You know what I'm saying? But that's a long road. We might not even see in this lifetime.
Right. No, there are varying degrees of goodness within people and badness. Some of us, you know, will go really great and not very bad at all. And then some people their varying degree of badness is really deep, and they never really get to a goodness part. So that's something that people need to think about. It doesn't matter where you are. You know, you are responsible for yourself, and you're responsible for your family. So you have to step up and be that, no matter how hard it gets.
That's right. There it is. Thank you, Miss Peaches. You're right. Now, let me go to you, Mr. Neal, real quick. And then, you know, I have a lot to ask Raul. And, you know, like I said, I really want E just to listen for a minute. And I'm going to hit him a little later on in the show because, like I said, he's a non-believer, but he's a young person. You know what I'm saying? And I want him to hear it all the way around the board. And it's not even where he got to pick and choose, but I want him to understand what he's hearing so he can deal with it in his walk. And when he's out in the street, he can deal with when he tells people he's a non-believer. You know what I'm saying? He's going to know what to say when they say this. This is what you're supposed to say. And if it keeps going on, that's not the conversation for you. It's not break out your bat, ball your fists up. It's not one of those kind of conversations. Because when it comes to religion, the religion you pick is yours. So nobody can call my card on my religion. And that's the way we want this young man to feel, and not get into a verbal and not get in trouble over his religion or his non-religion or whatever he feels. Mr. Neal.
Okay, you just threw a curveball again. So I'm trying to, I had my stuff all ready to talk about. I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. And all of a sudden, here you come. Anyway. All right, so let me break this down this way. Let's dissect and digress.
I hope you're getting ready. I hope you're getting ready.
My goodness here. E, let me explain something to you.
Okay.
You do have faith. Okay. You do have a religion. All right, let me break that down so you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You have a religion of faith to believe in that there is something out there that is there for you.
That he does believe.
Now, religion is the actual different denomination that you choose to believe in within that religious function. But there is a belief system. Okay, so when you say, I don't believe in this, I don't believe, you have to, before you don't believe in something, you have to seek out what it is first to understand what you don't believe in.
Right.
Okay, so let's clear that up. I don't want anybody to feel as if I'm not Christian based or spiritual based, because that's crazy. I am. But I have what's called common and sense. Put them together, it'd be common sense. Everyone doesn't have and possess common sense, and the more educated I get, the worse it gets.
Right.
So let me just break it down to you this way, and I don't have anything bad to talk about the single parents and single moms, because they go through a lot. But understand, church is a community. And people say, what do you mean by community? Let me break that down, because some of y'all look a little slow. Community means that there are different areas of the church that are for certain people. And when you go to church, you put your children in children's church, but that doesn't mean that they'll learn anything, because you know why? You never ask them, what do you learn in children's church? You just stick the kids in children's church, you go to church, and then you guys all meet up at the car, and you all happy-go-lucky, and y'all go home. But what did the kid really learn while he was there? Right. You get what I'm saying? Understand, church is not a babysitting service. It's not where you just come, drop your kid off, you go one way, the kid goes the other way, and then you guys meet up in the middle and go home. Understand, when you put your child in something, you have to therefore be a part of it. So when my son came to visit me over the summer, he was like, well, Dad, are we going to church? And I said, no. Now, that doesn't mean that I didn't go online and look at a service or something that was online, because that fed me. I feed him. So I tell him, if you want to go, we will go to a church. But if you don't want to go, I'm not pushing you to go to church. We can sit here and talk about whatever you want. Church is about communication. That's what I'm trying to get to. It's about communication, how we break down what is right versus what is wrong. You cannot hang off the pastor's tongue every time he says something and believe that is right. You have to seek out things for yourself. I mean, when I wanted to know about Mormonism, I went to a Mormon church, and I found out what was talking about, which ward was talking about that.
Excuse me 1 second. When the pastor says, go to the book of Psalms, go to the book of this, go to this chapter, he's telling you to research.
Yes.
He's giving his interpretation. Let's not take nothing from the pastor, which I know you wasn't.
Right.
But I'm saying, he's telling you, research this.
Right. Do your research.
Do your research, but find in this scripture where you fit in and where it fits for you. Right. But don't say it don't work for you if you ain't done your research.
Exactly. And there's different semantics of the church that you have to understand. You just don't go to church and all of a sudden, you're a Christian. What is a Christian? Can we break that down? Because what is really a Christian?
I agree
Now if you say you want to be Christ-like, now there's a difference in Christ-like. If then you researching your word, you researching your scriptures, you researching your Bible, you know which way you're going because you have done the research. But when you say, hey, enough is enough because I've been to church, I've been going through this for so many years, and you may have church hurt, which means that I have been in church and certain things happened while I was in church and I didn't agree with it and the leadership did not help me through it.
Right. That was the point we was trying to make last
church
week.
hurt.
Right. Right.
That they, just in case you didn't know what that meant,
Right.
because that brings you on through, because you take that same luggage and baggage to the next facility you go to.
You're right, and I broke that down last week.
And that makes a lot of people become atheists, because it's like, well, if you're going to treat me worse than the people in the street, then why should I even go to church?
Right.
You know, so then they say, well, you know, I believe, I don't want to believe in anything. I don't want to go to church. And then you don't want to be like that. You want to be in a situation where you're making positive choices that impacts your life.
Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna go to you real quick. I want to ask you this: when you okay, say for instance you do get hurt at a church and you church hurt. It's this knowledge, food for thought that I'm throwing out right now. I'm gonna ask you, but I want you to. I'm going to pitch it to you. Ain't gonna be no curveballs coming straight down the middle. All right, so I'm telling you because I know. No, ain't gonna be no strike. Ain't gonna be no strike. I'm telling you where it's coming, so you can put it over the fence. You mean? Okay, but what I'm saying is, when you are leaving a church and you are church hurt.
Yes.
When you go to any other church, and I'm saying this in favor of the pastors.
Yes.
You can't bring that hell and you can't bring that bad luggage up into their church because you're not giving them a fair chance.
Okay.
But you get what I'm saying?
No. Let me break that down to you because I had to handle that myself. Whatever situation or organization you believe in and you want to walk away from it, including your job.
Yeah.
You hold a exit interview and you say, listen, this is what I have a problem with.
Right.
This is why I'm leaving this organization because of X, Y, and ZZ.
Right.
You allow that leadership to address your issues.
Right. I agree.
You just don't walk out the door without you don't leave a job and because they're not gonna pay you. You
Right.
don't just get up one day and say, hey, you know what? I'm done. Bye. No, when you leave a job, you give a 2 weeks notice.
And you blow all your opportunities. You blow all your what's meant to be paid to you through wages and everything when you just quit. It's a way of ending everything the right way.
Right. Now, I will tell you this. Religion gives you a certain understanding of how life should be and how you should fulfill yourself within life itself.
Right.
That's what religion or church should give you. It should give you a sense of understanding of who you are as a person. It should build you up, and it should make you the best person that you could ever be in life. That's what church is meant for. Church is not meant for to come, let's gather, let's see who has the best looking duds on, let's see what's going on. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's more gossip in the church than there is outside the church.
Right.
So when you go to church, have a full understanding of what you're going into church for. I'm going to okay. Let me tell you this because I'm getting ahead of myself because maybe some of y'all didn't get the disclaimer. Church is a hospital. So when you go into a church, that's because everybody says, I've been hurt in the world, Raul. So I'm going to church now to mend my wounds because I'm cut all over and I need someone to help me mend my wounds.
Right.
Okay, that's great. That means that you're going in because you have an understanding exactly why you come into church. But when you say out of formality, I'm going because this is the religion my great-grandmother, my grandfather went into, and he was a deacon, and my this was a pastor, and or Catholicism. When you're a Catholic, I'm here. I've been blessed. I've been baptized. Now I got to go through my catechism class. See, you I knew about all that, did you? I got to go through my catechism class. That's why you got to do your research.
Yeah.
And then you, at that point, say you're going out of formality, not because if I ask you some questions about where are all the lost books of the Bible, you should be able to rattle that off to me and tell me exactly where are all the lost books of the Bible. Who holds on to those lost books of the Bible? And then you can, that's when you're showing me through your catechism classes that you're learning what's going on. But when you just going out of formality because it's Sunday and it's a bright day, we decide we want to go to church today and get holy, that doesn't work that way.
Right.
Because as soon as you get out to church and somebody cuts you off down the freeway, what you gonna say?
Yeah.
What you gonna say, Big Daddy?
Right. I mean, I'm with you 100%. You talking to Eve? Right? Oh, you talking to me? What you talking to me?
I think he was
I'm
looking
talking
at
to you.
Oh, I thought you was talking to Eve.
I think he was looking
No,
at you.
I mean, yeah, all hell gonna break loose. You're right. All hell gonna break loose. Right. Right. I know where you're going with it, and that's true. But the thing about it is, even if it's a pastor, or even if it's somebody that's deep into church, all hell still can break loose because we're human.
Right.
We're human, and
Right.
what we haul out that window or how we choose to deal with it, it all comes down to free will and choice.
Okay, but
and that's where people leave it out when it comes to religion. It's free will and choice.
But I want people to understand. Listen to me, America, and wherever else you are. If you are going to church, do not think just because you're in church that everything in life is going to be wonderful. That you're going to see the butterflies and this is going to be the best day of your life, lives of living in church. No. Do not get so sensitive when you're in church all of a sudden and you think that everything is just going to be just the way it is. That's how you get the church hurt.
Right.
Because you don't
That's
use
true.
what's called common sense and understand people are still going to be people, whether they're in church or whether they're out of church. Just because they're there does not mean that that's going to make them a better person. It's supposed to make them a better person. But that's within the humanistic side of understanding of who you are as a person. And if you never learned on who you are as a person, you would never be able to reach that richness of understanding when you start to go to church and start to give somebody a piece of you.
But it goes back to this real quick, and we'll go to Raul and let him come in. When you go to therapy, if you've been in a car accident or anything happened to you, therapy don't happen by itself, because if they say, we're going to teach you how to walk, you have to put forth the effort to try to walk.
Right.
And that's basically what we want people to understand what you're saying right now.
Right.
When you go to church and you church hurt, you coming in, you're still under therapy.
Right.
You're in therapy.
Right.
You have to move forward. You have to be a part of it. Nobody can look at you sitting out there in those seats and know that you as damaged as you are, especially if you don't say nothing or you don't talk to somebody and try to get treatment and try to get help, to get therapy, to get back in it the right way.
Right.
You know, I mean, hurt people that don't open their mouth, they continue to be
hurt.
That's it.
And for you pastors and ministers and whatever, bishops and whatever else you want to call yourself, lay members need to be lay members. Let me explain it to you, because I know you don't know what that means.
I heard you talk about it
And then
last
we're
week.
gonna let Raul bring it in.
Raul. Because, you know, it's a real hard subject for me. And because I'm so close to what Raul's about to say, that I understand where he's at. Lay members are when you first get into church and you have an understanding of how you're going through the process of a church. You know, what does church mean? And you're all charismatic about it, because I'm going to church. This church has a lot of things going on. It's popping. You know, all these young people. And okay, put the emphasis on young. So these young people, where there's men and women. So all of a sudden, sister so-and-so or brother so-and-so is looking real good to you. You lose the actual understanding that a lay member needs to be a lay member. They need to stay there in that situation of understanding how church works, how the understanding church is, because when you put them in a ministry and they have not been acclimated to the church itself, it's a setup for disaster.
It's real tough.
So let them sit and learn like a baby should, and you spoon feed them and you tell them what they need to know. Do not have them ushering. Do not have them in the choir. Please don't put them in the choir. You know, they just came from the club at 2 in the morning, but that's a whole nother show. And, you know, I mean, let them sit there and understand exactly what church is.
Right.
How you doing, Raul?
Very good.
There he is. Raul's in the house, everybody. Raul Martinez is in the house. Let them know, you know, where you're from, your denomination or non-denomination. We'll bring them up to speed again for anybody who's just chiming in to the Hands Off Our Children show. I'm your host, Cogee. Call-in number 702. And I want y'all to put this in your phone. Definitely save this number in your phone. The Hands Off Our Children radio show. The number is 702-483-4444. 702 483-4444. We definitely want y'all to call in on any show once you're here and know what the title is. And, you know, when you come in, we'll leave you on the phone for a minute, let you see how the show is flowing. Then we'll bring you in. We want to hear your comment. We want you to always be very respectful, you know, respect other people's comments and what they say, but come in with your knowledge and, you know, let's shine a light on this. If you have anything to say about, you know, church right now, being a Christian, being an atheist, just being able to help young men like E and a lot of people people around the world who's watching this learn how to come back into the church and, you know, learn how to get that faith back. I mean, we support that on this show right now. I want people to be where y'all need to be right for your youth, to be right for your children, your other family members. I want you to be that role model in faith that you really want to be. But we want to show you how to get there and how when you get in there, don't be a problem, don't cause a problem, be a solution. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're talking about. So Raul, you got this. You know, let us know where you're from, and you know, and you know, I got some great questions. I got some great questions for Raul, everybody. So it's going to be a great interview.
I'm ready. Thank you very much.
All right.
Raul Martinez again, co-president of HALV, Humanists and Atheists of Las Vegas, and media representative for Las Vegas Coalition of Reason. We are organized, and we are in Las Vegas, and some of us, not all of us, are out. There is a lot of fear of atheists to come out. There is a lot of prejudice that we have to fight against. So not a lot of people are willing to openly say and admit, I don't believe in God.
Right. But one of the things we asked you on break, you know, we all sit and talk with you on break like we do, so we can get a better understanding of, you know, where you stand. We don't want to disrespect you sitting here with us right now. We want to have the utmost respect for you. And you said, one thing that you said that stuck out to me, whenever something comes up and it's atheist, first thing they think is, I worship the devil. We worship the devil. Can you break that part down to help people understand where you're coming from?
That is right. Yes, we don't worship the devil. We don't eat babies. We simply don't believe in God, in a supernatural being. God, goddesses, gods. There's many. It's just we don't have a reason to believe in anything that we don't need.
Right. A lot of atheists that I know, they feel like the power that comes from up above is the power that you have inside of yourself first as well. Do you believe that?
Well, it depends what you mean by power. What
well,
kind of
you
power?
know, well, when people say, "Well, I have the power of God," God, gives me this power. But a lot of people, they depend on God for that power instead of using their inner power first to try to do whatever they need to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What he's trying to say basically is, remember I told you that people need to believe in themselves more often.
Right.
And people take that power of believing in themselves as
power. Is there self-determination? That's what you mean? I mean. I'm sorry.
Even with faith, okay, they say
to be scientific about things. We talk about power. I'm talking about electric.
No. But when we say faith comes with works, right? So if you believe in something and you praying to God for something, you got to do something in the midst of God moving and shaking to open up your life. You got to get to moving and shaking where He can meet you halfway.
Yeah, God helps who helps themselves. So of course, absolutely. So that's why, from an atheist perspective, it's just remove the God part and just do stuff.
Okay, right.
That's absolutely right. We work on our actions. So the idea of doing good is something that you have to do as a human. You don't wait for the prayer to work. You don't ask for that help. You start working on it. You don't pray for someone to get better. You go get a doctor. You get them a blanket. You give them medicine. That's what we do. Then that's the power that we have.
Okay.
So that's where we're coming from on that.
But you do know Raul just quoted the scripture out the Bible. You do understand that, right?
That's absolutely right. And I'll give you some. I mean, because it is true. That's of course the way that we see it. You gotta do something to make this a better place. You have to work at it. You don't just sit down and wait for it. And as an atheist, also there's a lot of anger in the atheist community. I will admit to there's a lot of people that have left the church, probably like I said, church hurt. So yes, there is some anger, and there is some people that are just very anti-theistic. I heard that on the introduction as well. Not everyone is anti-theistic. They don't necessarily attack it. They just see it as different realms existing in this world towards working towards the same goal, following different paths. One of them happens to be without a belief in a supreme being. And it's still, it doesn't matter. It gets you out of bed, you pay your taxes, you're a happy person, you're a good father, you're a good husband, you're a good worker. There's nothing wrong with it. So maybe the message that and here's the thing. I mentioned initially there's a lot of people that are in the closet that are afraid to admit that they don't believe in God, or that they may even be questioning it. So they hedge their bets. They say, maybe I'm agnostic, maybe I still believe in the Spirit. Okay, that's fine. The important thing is that we want to equalize, to normalize this a little bit more, to hopefully get the religious people, the people that are really strongly believing in their God, that they don't hate us so much, or they don't feel that we're somehow missing on something. I've heard many stories of families that are broken up because a son or a daughter finally gets the courage to admit to the parent, I maybe don't believe in this, and this has broken up the family. This has had parents actually kick their children out of their home in a very un-Christ-like way, if you want to see. So, and this is something that hurts us. We see religion as something that, yes, should join, or should help humans come together, and in many cases it divides them. It does not follow that humanistic let's bring all of us together. Let's fight for diversity and equality because the church is telling us so. Sadly, in many cases, it falls behind. And I know we're focusing on Christianity here. I gotta say that there are many parts of the world where, we're really privileged here. There are parts of the world where religion dictates so many terrible things. If you don't believe this way, well, you're a woman, you're not going to school. No, and you commit this crime, we're going to stone you. We're going to kill you. There is no question about it. Now, they're extreme. We can point the finger and say, oh, well, that's not us. Well, okay, let's look at what we have at home. Right. Do you have your faith and your church? And is it really validating and giving value to that diversity and that equality, that respect and that acceptance of the individual? Then it's worth worshiping. That's a church that's worth going to. But if you have anything in your church that goes against that, then, and this is I will never try to convert anyone, and I will not tell you to become an atheist ever, because it's really hard. So don't do it. Do it because you want to do it, and because you thought about it, and because you have no other way to live your life. Be proud of it in that case. Right. But use that knowledge. When you see a church or a pastor that in any way discriminates against someone based on their gender, their race, even their sexual orientation, you tell them, I'm sorry, this is wrong, I will not stand for this. Right. And this is what we do in the real world. We're not letting the scripture dictate what we believe as humans. If we see that empathy, we will follow that empathy.
But you do have to follow that up with knowing who you are, E. And because I'm gonna tell you right now,
your speeches, get ready.
You people will tell you anything. And,
that's right.
And faith without works is dead.
You got that
and
right.
And people will tell you that, hey, you need to go ahead and believe when the blood moon come around. That you need to spin around 3 times and say 3 different wishes. I mean, people will tell you that because they will, and I'm not saying this for you, but they will play off your ignorance on what you don't know. And they will make you feel as if this is something I need to listen to your common sense. Okay, people, y'all see me? Y'all see me? I hope y'all see me. Common sense. It's a given. That should be a given of an understanding of what should be said, or your sixth sense, something that goes against what you feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If something doesn't feel right, you need to walk away.
Okay, there it is. Miss Peaches, chime in.
I'm enjoying, everybody's comments, and Raul, I like it that he said, don't become an atheist just to become one, because it's hard. And I think that's with anything, whatever you decide to step into and be a part of, just make sure that you're ready for the job that you signed up for.
That's right. That's real.
That's even with Hands Off Our Children. We have a tough job.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody. But we want this. We want everyone, and we want the people who are strong. We want people who will come to learn. But just be ready to be a part of the movement.
That's right. You're right about that. You know what? Let me say this real quick. Raul, whenever somebody, and this is something I want you all to think about too as well, and I want y'all to understand the question that I'm going to ask Raul right now. Because like I said, it's all about knowing what you're getting into and the information, as Mr. Neal said, that you're taking on.
Right.
Raul, when somebody comes to you and they want to be a part of what you all are doing, do y'all set them down and ask them, are you sure this is what you want to do? Have you been church hurt? Why do you not believe in God? What has religion done to you personally? I mean, do y'all really dissect them to know who y'all dealing with and why they coming in, if they not coming in the wrong way to cause literally hell in y'all situation because they're hurt over here? How do y'all
That's a good point.
break that down? I just want people to know.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We don't restrict. We are open. Doors are open, and yes, we do get a little bit of everything. Just like any organization, we have our growing pains. We have our our weirdos in the group,
right.
And then we have the people that are really committed to it.
Right.
But what I've learned over the years, because I've been in this movement for quite a while, is that there are different stages of your secularity. When you first leave the church or religion, especially if we were brought in it depends on your origins, but initially, you tend to be angrier. Usually, the younger, the recent convert or the convert are usually a little more angry, and they're more anxious. Like they want to do something, and they want to tell you their story.
Right.
That is the cathartic moment when they're
That's
telling
right.
you, it's their moment. It's like, this is when I found out that there is no God, or this is how I came to this realization. And they hold on to the story, and they have to retell that story, something that it's helping them purge. So you accept that, and you learn, it's like, okay, you're just coming out, and this is normal, this is what happens,
Right.
and let me help you. The thing that we can do in our case, we don't really, I mean, we're not trained to provide any sort of assistance, and we don't pretend to have any superior power to tell them this is what you should do or not. This is just humans talking to humans. So what I can do for them is usually tell them, listen, in our local coalition of reason, Las Vegas Coalition of Reason, we have different groups that are mostly equal philosophically, let's say, but the meetings that they have are different. So for your situation, I would suggest maybe this meeting. This meeting is a forum.
Okay.
These people get to talk, they get to listen. So you may want to try that meeting.
Right.
If you're at a different stage in your secularity, if you're more mild, if you don't want to listen to any more God talk because you're just tired of it, you don't even want to complain about it, then you go to a Sunday assembly, which is our godless church, if you will, where all you do is celebrate life, you sing songs, you say hello to people, you have some snacks, and you form a community. It has nothing to do with God. It has totally removed from it. And that's what I can do for people. It's what kind of secular person do you want to be? Do you want to be politically active? Do you want to protest? Do you want to write to your senator and congressman, tell them to remove religion from the politics of our nation? Join this group. Start writing letters. I'm going to give you the path of activism. You just want to form a community. You want to meet some friends. You're tired of listening to God bless. Go to this group.
Right.
So that is what I do. I point them in the right direction because we have a smorgasbord, if
Right.
you will, of different options in which to express your own secularity, your atheism.
And that was my point. And I'm glad you answered that. So people won't think, oh, well, Cogee, he's got him on the show. He's leading people this way. No. I'm bringing we had a Buddhist that was going to come on the show, but they had something going on today, and they had to call in council. We wanted to bring a lot of different religions through here today to let y'all hear how they get down, how they do their thing, but most of all, that at the end of the day, they still love. That's the point of what I'm making. No matter, we have people that say it's only one road to get to God. You got to go this way. You got to go that way. But let me tell you something. That's why people get navigational systems, because there's all kind of roads and all kind of shortest distance, longest distance, you name it. But it's all leading to the same place.
Wait a minute. Can you run that back again? I need you to run that back again.
Which part?
The navigation just had me stuck. Can you tell me about what's that mean, the navigation?
When I say it's all kind of navigational system kind of ways to get to where you want to be in your walk, it's through all the different religions. I'm just saying.
No, I like how you say that. I'm just wanted to repeat it. We good now. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
We good.
All right, there it is. So, what I'm saying is we got Mr. Mark Anthony who's in with us right now. Mark, thank you for being on the show today. We enjoyed you last week. You brought a lot of great knowledge. What have you heard thus far? I wanted you to just hold on a minute and listen. What'd you think about the show thus far today, Mark?
I love it. I think the show is great, and what impressed me last week, which is impressing me even more this week, is how people from different, let's say, philosophical backgrounds, when it comes to religion, are so respectful of each other. And this is I think, and I'm not saying let's all join hands and sing Kumbaya, but this is the key to peace: is interfaith dialogue, and that's what needs to be happening.
That's right.
We see Pope Francis trying to do this. We've seen the Dalai Lama doing this for a long time. And Cogee, you're creating a forum for this to happen, because this whole thing about our way is the right way, that's the problem I've always had with organized religion. And for the benefit of the other guests on the show and for the listeners, I was raised in a Catholic background, and I was going to become a Catholic priest. Now, I'm a psychic medium. I communicate with spirits. I definitely believe in God and in an afterlife. And what I found that so many religions do, it's like, we're right, you're wrong. We are holy, you are not. We have the moral high road, you do not. And what it does is it creates the us versus they syndrome that leads to bigotry, anger, hatred, and violence.
That's right.
If you want to see a disgusting version of organized religion, look at that idiotic Westboro church, okay? They're a bunch of religious fanatics. They're not spiritual. They're religious fanatics. And if you want to take organized religion to its most filthy and inhuman extreme, look at ISIS. It's horrible enough that they've been beheading people. They're raping women. They're trying to eliminate the Yazidi people. Now they're destroying World Heritage sites. And the fact of the matter is, religion is not to be a form of government. And when it becomes government, it becomes fascism. Religion is a personal thing to help people realize that God exists and that there is an afterlife. And all the great religious teachers teach nonviolence and to respect your neighbor. But when people start hijacking religion for their own ego-driven agendas, then all it does is become a tribal, primitive, fear-based, superstitious pile of nonsense.
That's right. I hear you, Mark. You definitely broke it down. And I do thank you, Mark, for the compliment, you know, and saying you respect the way I run the show. But I believe if I ran this show and I got on here and I just was ranting and I was going in and saying all kind of smart stuff, I think even my guests, everybody would conform to me. You get what I'm trying to say? But I
sure.
come on
and,
this...
And Cogee, I was on a show, and we talked about it when I saw you out in L.A., and I won't mention any names, but it was a show where it was a free-for-all. And the F-bombs were flying and racist and sexist comments, and the host completely lost control, and it was just a mess. And there's no point to trying to have an intelligent discussion when there isn't a facilitator who treats everybody with respect and requires from everybody to treat each other with respect.
Right. You're definitely right about that. And that's what I come with first, is that respect for everybody to come on our show, because it goes back to what I said. You never know what somebody's going through, but you never know why they're in that religion, what happened to get them in that religion, or what's going on with that situation. Somebody might come on this show and get converted, you know what I'm saying, over to a Christian just by hearing what we're talking about, because over where they are, they feel like, you know what, well, maybe over here I didn't had enough of this and I want to go try that. Or, I mean, it could work in another direction, you know what I'm saying, where they might want to come over and try to be an atheist, or they might want to try to be a Buddhist. But it's all your choice. This show ain't to just tell you, no, you need to go this way or you need to go that way. This show is shining a light on all, you know, somewhat religions, and just trying to say, hey, we can live in this together without hurting each other, without trying to devalue each other, without trying to destroy each other. That's what means a lot with this show. And I think the way we done it today, you know, it's just we're having a grown folk conversation. You get what I'm saying? It's all about, you know, we learning. And like I said, with my man Raul right here, he's definitely, you know, bringing us up to speed on about, you know, being an atheist. Like he said, we're not demons. We don't worship the devil. We just don't believe what y'all believe, but we still believe in goodness, love, and seeing a better day. And that's what matters, you know, to me on this show, when I'm doing this show, to make sure that the parents and the children understand no matter what you're going through, it's still going to come down to three things. It's going to come down to understanding, it's going to come down to love, and it's going to come down to what do we do next? What do we do next? Because you can't make a rational decision in the end, because you can have love and understanding, but if somebody still stands strongly about what they feel, what are you going to do next? You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it has to be a plan. Everything in life have to have a plan.
Right.
And a backup plan. And the backup plan to the backup plan.
To the backup plan nowadays.
You just never know, because life is so unstable sometimes when you're dealing with different things, and you know, especially when you're in and out of trying to figure out exactly. That's why I keep saying, I keep going back to it. You have to know who you are and what you believe in. And just like Mark Anthony was saying, you know, you have to know what spiritual gifts that you are blessed with. Right. Because it will drive you crazy.
Yeah, it will.
If you don't know exactly what gifts he blessed you with.
That's right.
Because it's like Mark's a medium. I mean, you know, I've met many mediums. And, you know, when they start talking to you, some are by touch. So they touch you, and you don't even know. They just, you know, they put their hand on their shoulder, like just like this, like I'm doing a roll, and before you know it, they're reading everything from you. So you have to know exactly who you are and your purpose for being here.
That's right. I'm gonna go to E real quick. E, what do you think about the show thus far?
Oh, I think it's really good. I think it's very informative, and I think I'm able to pick where I'm able to grab from and really find out a little more about myself. I think everybody sort of mentioned it is that you really have to know yourself, and Bernie Mac is really, smashing that into their head, and it's really important, because when you don't, then you're subjected to really take in anything, and you could take in the wrong information.
Right. That's true. And one thing that, I want people to understand too is that it's cool to work with other nationalities, other religions, other, free thinkers, whatever. I mean, it's cool to be around those people when they have a good heart and they got a good agenda, and y'all all are setting out for the same goal, and that's world peace and love. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're doing this show, and you can find other great things in the midst of who they are, what they believe in, their religions, and you can just find great friends. I think if we can learn to be great friends in the midst of all this religion and the situations that religion set up, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what we need nowadays. We need great friends, because if we can have great friends, then we can have great understandings, but now we gain allies to help do even more greater and better things, because why? We all have the same understanding. We all on the same road. Nobody is left behind. Nobody is just being drug whether they want to come or not. Right. You know what I'm saying? No, they freely walking. Some of them at a slow pace, but some of them are at a slight jog. Some of them are running, and some of them are running hard to get there. But hey, I feel like with Raul, I thank you for being here, and any other show that I'm doing and any other topics, you more than welcome to come and sit with us and be a part of.
Oh, thank you very much. And let me tell you real quick with something that you mentioned here, and it's something that I tell some of the members of my group whenever they refuse to engage or participate in any sort of interfaith gathering, and they're always like, "What are you doing that? You're validating, and you're allowing the enemy, as it seems." It's like, no, you don't understand. We are all humans in this planet, right. Whether you like it or not. We're living in the same space. We're going to work. We're existing together. So you can't block that. It's like blocking the sun with a finger. You can't do it. It's a reality that's not going to change. You got to accept it. Now, are you going to build a wall, or are you going to build a bridge?
That's right. You
have to be able to work with them in find those areas where we agree on, and we agree on most of the things. That's the reality of it. And use that. Don't push it away. Don't make those enemies. There is nothing to be gained from that.
That's right.
We need to work together, and I think that if we look at those things like, yes, we're all human. We laugh, we cry, we share those emotions. Why not accept that? Why not embrace it?
Well, I just want you to know, I appreciate you, man. I mean that, and I definitely thank you for being a part of what we're doing today. I want to let the whole world know that I'm friends with you. I'm not going to say I'm friends with you off the show. I'm going to say it while the cameras are here, because I am friends with you, because like you said, on the break, you said a lot of great things to where we can come together and we all can try to do something to change the world, but to help these children to move forward and not even just cram religion at them 24/7. Let's find out who they are first. Let's get to know these children for who they are, what they're going through, and what they want to be. And let's use every door and every option that we have to get them through the door. You get what I'm saying? But even it don't stop there. We still have to keep being a mentor to them and staying in their corner and making sure that they're okay. Like how I got Young E here with me 24/7. I keep him right with me. Bernie Mac says to me constantly, hey, stay on him, man. Make sure, that he's right. Make sure that, he's up on his game. And that's what it's about. So we're going to go into our third hour. Mr. Mark Anthony is going to come in. He's going to shine a lot of light on us, and we thank him for being here with us. We thank Miss Peaches and everybody. This show is about love. This show is about coming together as one, but this show is mostly about bringing change in a dark place. We're going to shine that light over into it with the love. So stay locked in. We'll be right back.
What are you talking about? You can't come pick her up. Come get her now. You do this all the time. What are you talking about? You don't pay for anything. You don't take care of her. I do. I have a life I have to live. I have deadlines I have to do. If you don't come get her, I'm going to leave her here. I don't care. No, this is crazy. Because every time I need to do something, you don't come get her. You don't want anything to do with her. But